After a 33-hour manhunt, the Patsy and the public execution of Charlie Kirk has been apprehended. Now, before we dive into the obvious Masonic 33 ritual marker in all occult rituals, the name, geography, and date are extremely important to the mechanics of the ritual, as you will soon see. The Charlie Kirk Masonic Ritual was no different. Let's break it down, because there is a lot to get into. Charlie Kirk's full name is Charles James Kirk. First and foremost, let's focus on the first and last names. Charles Kirk. Charles comes from the Germanic Karl, which means free man. This is in contrast to bondsman, serf, or slave. Kirk comes from the Old Norse kirkja, meaning church. So Charles Kirk literally means Church of the Free Man, or Assembly or House of the Free Man. That etymology is pretty loaded, archetypical, if you will. In ritual logic, the name is chosen or highlighted for ritual resonance. These rituals are meticulously planned. Everything is done by the letter, done by the numbers. Charlie's name encodes an extremely important archetype in this day and age, the gathering place of those who are not enslaved. Historically, free men were those not bound to feudal lords, a symbol of sovereignty. A church of the free man suggests a sanctuary of independence, a counterforce to centralized power. This is extremely significant symbolically. If a man with the name meaning Church of the Free Man is ritually slain in public, then so are the old ideas of sovereignty and liberty under God. And in its place, the Church of the Global Citizen, the technocratic Noahide order, emerges. The sacrifice of Charlie Kirk encodes the transition from sovereignty to servitude under surveillance. But we are just getting started with the symbolism. Charles means free man. In medieval guilds, only free men, not serfs, could join the craft or Freemasonry. That's why they were called free masons. So there is a definite connection between free man and Freemasons. A lodge could be seen as the Masonic version of a church. Masonry is often described as a church without Christ, a temple or lodge where rituals take place. In this aspect, Charles Kirk could literally be interpreted as Freemasonic lodge, as Charles equals free man, which equals Freemason, and Kirk equals church, which equals lodge, so Freemasonic lodge. Now, is that a little bit of a stretch? Maybe, but there's undoubtedly a hidden resonance with Charlie Kirk and Masonry. This becomes more evident as the manhunt lasted exactly 33 hours. 33 degrees is the highest visible degree in Scottish Rite Masonry. If you look where he was shot, it was surrounded by right angles. A Mason always stays on the square. More than that, Charlie sat directly in the middle of a pentagon, which acted as the ritualistic pentagram, sealing the ritual sacrifice within the five-pointed star. The most famous Masonic myth is the slaying of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, the builder of Solomon's temple. Charlie Kirk, the free man slain in public, could be cast in that archetype, a ritual killing that preserves and renews the brotherhood. With the man named Church of the Freemasons dying in public, it could then be seen symbolically as a Masonic sacrifice in the open square. Hiram Abiff slain again by the three ruffians. This is sealed with a 33-hour marker. Charlie's death serves as a symbolic act to both bury the old Masonic lodge and the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, reason, and sovereignty, to resurrect Masonry power in the age of dark enlightenment, aka the technocracy. Thus, his blood becomes the cornerstone of a new temple, the global, digital, Noahide law-based order. Or are the Masons being sacrificed by Israel for the Greater Zion Project? Was this a warning to the American Masons by B'nai B'rith that they are expendable, Now that the third temple is almost built, you are no longer needed. We all know that Masonry is a Jewish establishment. Masonry is literally Judaism for Gentiles. Another major tell is that the Patsy lived directly next to Zion National Park. This is no coincidence. Geography is incredibly important in these rituals. For the suspect to be linked to Zion ties the event directly to the idea of the Greater Israel Project, a global one-world governance under Zion. Utah is a Mormon state, a Masonic hotspot. In Mormon tradition, Zion is also a literal city that must be built before Christ's return. The Patsy was 22 years old. 22 is the master builder number. The Manhunt was 33 hours. These are all Masonic and Kabbalistic markers. 33 and 22 are both master numbers. Charlie was shot in the neck. The penal sign of the entered apprentice is a slicing motion across the neck. If you break the oath, the penalty is having my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by its root, and my body buried in the rough sands of the sea at low water mark, where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours, should I ever knowingly violate. This is my entered apprentice obligation. Now this brings us to Charlie's middle name, James. This ties everything together. James comes from the Hebrew Yaakov, or Jacob, meaning supplementer, or the one who replaces. Jacob is the patriarch who wrestled with the God of Israel and was renamed Israel, which means he who struggles with God. So James encodes the idea of replacement, transformation, or most importantly, the rise of Israel. James literally means Israel, the supplementer of Israel. This is very important, as Charlie was seen as a mega Zionist, but there was signs that he was beginning to turn on Israel. He stated that Epstein was clearly a Mossad agent. Most Zionists would try to deny that angle. He allegedly told people he was scared that Israel was going to kill him if he turned on them. The sacrifice occurred in Moab. Biblically, Moab is the land descended from Lot's son, or the Moabites, who were the sometimes ally and often adversary of Israel. Moab's biblical story includes rulers trying to hide a prophet to curse Israel. That narrative casts Moab as a place where prophetic utterances and manipulations happen. This is a useful metaphor for an act intended to send a message to the world, not merely a private crime. The Church of the Free Man, aka Charlie Kirk, is slain to be replaced by the Temple of Zion. Now let's go back to where he was shot. If you look at where he was giving the speech from above, you will notice the architecture looks exactly like a giant menorah. Now if the tree of life is laid onto that menorah, Charlie would have been sitting exactly where Kether, or the crown, is located. Or in this case, Thamud, the false crown. The suspect's name is Tyler Robinson. This ties everything together. This is where it gets mind-blowing. In Masonic tradition, the Tyler is the officer who guards the door of the lodge with a drawn sword, ensuring that only initiated brethren enter. He keeps out Cohens and eavesdroppers. So the killer's first name encodes a Masonic guard/executioner role. He was from St. George. St. George is known as the Dragon Slayer. Now the last name Robinson literally means son of Robin. But in Masonic lore, there's a famous pseudonym, William R. Robinson, used in exposés of secret rite. It also echoes robbing son, one who takes life or inheritance. Thus, Tyler Robinson is the Masonic gatekeeper who robs or slays the son or fellow brother of the craft. And what was Tyler Robinson's middle name? James, aka Israel. As we discussed, the manhunt was exactly 33 hours. 33 is the highest visible degree in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It also marks Christ's age at the crucifixion. A manhunt lasting exactly 33 hours encodes the event in Masonic numerology. framing the death as a ritual act sealed by the signature of the craft. The killing literally mirrors the Hiram Abiff myth. Hiram, the master builder, remember Tyler Robinson was 22. 22 is known as the master builder number. Hiram is the free man who was slain at the temple gates while the Tylers guarded the temple door. The ritual sacrifice of Charlie James Kirk, the Church of the Free Man, supplemented by Israel, encodes the move from America's original Church of Liberty into the Temple of Zion beast system, guarded by Masonic authority. The ritual occurred on September 10th, on the eve of 9/11. 9/11/01 is the modern ritual cornerstone of the Zionist technocratic one world order. September 11th, or Tisha B'Av, is the Hebrew day of mourning, for both the first and second temple were allegedly destroyed in Jerusalem on that date. 9/11 itself was deliberately tied to this temple destruction archetype, the twin towers as twin pillars. The ritual sacrifice on September 10th aligns the sacrifice of Charles Kirk, the Church of the Free Man, with the destruction of the temple. The old temple, freedom, America, sovereignty, is destroyed, so the new temple, Zion, technocratic rule, can rise. Lastly, September 7th was a total lunar eclipse. September 10th, the day of the sacrifice, was the exact midpoint of the September eclipse season. In astrology, in the ancient mystery traditions, an eclipse season is a liminal portal. Solar eclipses are associated with kingship, outer order, the father, while lunar eclipses, aka blood moons, are associated with sacrifice, bloodlines, the mother, and the other side. The midpoint between eclipses is considered the eye of the serpent, the place of balance, where shadow and light are in tension. In Babylonian and Mesoamerican rites, the midpoint of eclipse season was when sacrifices were timed to align with cosmic order. September 7th was a blood moon. This marked the opening of the ritual gate. September 10th was the exact midpoint of the eclipse season. This was the day Charlie Kirk was killed. Symbolically, this is when the cosmic scales are balanced, halfway between the moon's shadow and the sun's shadow. Killing the Freeman's Church encodes a balancing sacrifice, sealing one order and opening another. The old world for the new technocratic Noahide law world order. September 11th, or Tisha B'Av, is the anniversary of the destruction of Jachin and Boaz, the temple pillars. September 11th sealed the ritual, tying it to the ancient temple desecration archetype. The 7th was a blood moon. It was the mother's shadow, the call for blood. September 10th was the Moab sacrifice from the father. The Freeman's Church is slain in the balance. September 11th is the memory of the Twin Towers. The pillars fall and a new temple order rises. It's like a 3-act ritual drama encoded in the skies and in blood. The timing was deliberate to the day. They didn't just kill him during eclipse season, they chose the exact hinge point, when heaven's scales are in perfect tension. This was the turning point. After Charlie's death, Donald Trump called him legendary. Donald Trump was also born under a blood moon on June 14th, 1946. Both men are closely associated with the Greater Zion Project. So, you tell me, was it a ritual? You can be the judge.